Hello everyone. Here in this video I am going to discuss three more diagram on UML. Those are sequence diagram, collaboration diagram and state chart diagram or state diagram. The other two diagrams I have already discussed in my previous video. Uh, those are class diagram and use case diagram. Okay, and also in my previous video I have discussed regarding the basics of UML, the design and the architecture and other things of the UML or unified modeling language. So if you are a subscriber of this channel, you can easily view those videos. Okay, now let us concentrate on these three diagrams. That is those are sequence diagram, collaboration diagram and state diagrams. Now before going to discuss regarding those diagrams, let us see in short what is UML. UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. It is industry standard graphical language for specifying, visualizing, constructing and documenting the artifacts of the software systems. The UML uses mostly graphical notations to express the object-oriented analysis and design of the software projects, and it simplifies the complex process of software design. Now coming to the diagrams, we have seen in my previous videos that the diagrams can be divided into two groups. Those are behavioral diagram, another one is structural diagrams. Okay, so here the sequence diagram comes under the interaction diagram. Okay, and interaction diagrams is a type of behavioral diagram. Okay, and then now as you can see there is no collaboration diagram which is our topic of discussion, one of the topic of discussion today. So let us see where is that collaboration diagram. In this diagram, actually the communication diagram is also known as the collaboration diagram. Okay, so here the sequence diagram and the communication diagram, both of them are actually interaction diagrams. Okay, and this interaction diagram is a type of behavioral diagram. Okay, another diagram what we will discuss today, that is state diagram. Okay, yeah, it is also a type of behavioral diagram. Okay, now as we can see in this slide that there are five diagrams like use case diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram and state diagrams. Actually these are the most important diagrams what is used as per our graduation syllabus or post graduation syllabus in the universities of this country. So these are most important for your exam as well as for your career development. Okay, now this is only a subset of the diagrams. As you can see in the previous slide that there are lots of diagrams in UML. So but these are the most important. Okay, now class diagram and use case diagram we have already discussed in my previous video, and today let us begin with the interaction diagrams. Now a sequence diagram is an interaction diagram that shows how objects operate with one another and in what order. They are also called event diagrams. A sequence diagram is a good way to visualize and validate various runtime scenarios. This can help to predict how a system will behave and to discover responsibilities a class may need to have in the process of modeling a new system. A sequence diagram is the most common kind of interaction diagram which focuses on the message interchange between a number of lifelines. What is lifeline? We'll see that in the next slides. A sequence diagram shows object interaction arranged in time sequence. Okay, so this is very important, the time sequence. It depicts the objects and classes involved in the scenario and the sequence of the messages exchanged between the objects needed to carry out the functionality of the scenario. A sequence diagram shows as parallel vertical lines or called live lines, different processes or objects that live simultaneously, and as horizontal arrows, the messages exchanged between them in the order in which they occur. Always remember the order should be maintained for the messages. Okay, now this allows the specification of simple runtime scenarios in a graphical manner. Let us check how. So this is an example of a sequence diagram which is drawn for making a phone call. Suppose you are calling your friend. So for both of you, a phone is required. Okay, now at your end there will be a phone, at your friend's end there should be another phone. Okay, now as phone is a similar kind of entity, so we'll assume that as a as a same object. Okay, so here suppose you are the caller, then there is a phone and your friend is the recipient. Okay, so what we do usually, I'm talking about, remember I'm talking about the landline telephone. Okay, here first of all what you have to do, you have to pick up the receiver. So it is at the first position, pick up the receiver. Okay, and who will pick up the receiver? The caller. This message will go to the phone, that whenever you will pick up the receiver, okay, that message will be passed to the phone that the receiver is picked up. And whenever the receiver will be picked up, from one message from the phone will go to the caller, that is the dial tone. As usual, whenever you will pick up the receiver, you will hear the dial tone. So this is number 2. After that, what you'll do, after hearing the sound of dial tone, you will dial the number of your friend, right? Here in this example it is the recipient. Okay, so recipient's number will be dialed by the caller, and where it will be passed to the phone. Sorry. Now, after dialing, what happened? Your friend or the recipient here will hear the sound of ring, right? His or her phone will be in ringing mode. Okay, and at the same time you will get the ringing notification from the recipient, and that will be coming from the phone. You will receive the ringing notification. So from phone to the recipient, that is ring, and phone to caller, it is ringing notification. Okay, and both of them will be done simultaneously, okay, or at the same time. Now whenever the recipient will hear the sound of ringing, he or she might picked up the phone. So picks up is the new message, that is from the recipient to the phone. Okay, after picking up, the recipient will say hello, and this hello will go from the recipient to the caller directly by the phone. Okay, so this message, and whenever the recipient will say hello to the caller, then your communication will be continued, that your talks will be continued, right? So the caller will say something, then recipient will say something, like that, and by this way the communication will be going on. Okay. So it is an example of sequence diagram. Remember that all the lines should be in sequence. The order should be maintained. Means picks up the dial tone. Here dial tone cannot come before the picks up. Okay, because you will not get a dial tone without picking up the receiver, right? So remember these things. Next one, some architecture of the some items of the sequence or the components of the sequence diagram. Here the object interaction, here A and B both are objects. Okay, and how they will interact with each other, it is shown. There can be a self call. Here it is the self call. Okay, a message that an object sends to itself. Another thing, there is a condition. Here condition is there. Okay, condition indicates when a message is sent, the message is sent only if the condition is true. Okay. Sorry. Now at the beginning you can see there is synchronous and asynchronous communication. What is synchronous message? Synchronous message. A synchronous message requires a response before the interaction can continue. It's usually drawn using a line with a solid arrowhead pointing from one object to another. You can see the first communication done from A to B, that arrowhead, okay? It is solid arrowhead and it needs a reply, okay? Like in suppose in normal mailing system, we can send postcard to our friend or relative. There at that time, if I send the message through the postcard, we will not get any replying message to or the acknowledgement, okay? But if you send your message through the registered post, you will get acknowledgement, okay? You can treat this as synchronous, and without acknowledgement, that is a postcard, that you can treat as the asynchronous message. So asynchronous message don't need a reply for interaction to continue. Like synchronous messages, they are drawn with an arrow connecting to lifelines. However, the arrowhead is usually open and there is no return message depicted. Okay. Now this red line, you can see it is actually the reply message. From after the synchronous message, there will be a reply. Okay, and then there is asynchronous message. Okay, you can have this half arrow or the full arrow also, like this. Now the next one is transmission delayed. Suppose it will take more time, then it is called the transmission delayed. Okay, and a reply message is drawn with a dotted line and an open arrowhead pointing back to the original lifeline, that is shown by this red line. Okay. Now here also some more things like lifetime of object or object lifespan. Okay, before that you just see this dotted line, this dotted line and this dotted line, these are the lifelines. Okay, these are called lifeline of the object. Okay, now whenever the object will be created, that will be shown by this rectangular shape, this rectangular shape, or it is called the activation bar. Okay, so whenever it will be created, the rectangle will be started. That is, creation means create message or object life starts at that point. So at this point the object life starts. Okay, now activation symbolized by rectangular strips placed on the lifeline where object is activated. Rectangle also denotes when object is deactivated. So this is the deactivation point. This one is the deactivation point. Okay. Now deletion, placing an cross on lifeline indicates that it is the end of the object. Okay, or the deletion of the object. An object's life end at that point. So here you can see it is a deletion point. So B's activation will be started here and it will be ended here, but it is deleted in this place at the cross. Okay, similarly here A's activation will be spread from this point to this point. Okay. Next is another example of sequence diagram. Here sequence diagram demonstrates the behavior of objects in a use case by describing the objects and the messages they pass. The horizontal dimensions shows the objects participating in the interaction. The vertical arrangement of the messages indicates their order. Okay, as we have seen in the previous slide, the or the previous example, the labels may contain the sequence. Hash indicates the concurrency. So the labels may contain the sequence number according to their order. Like here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No 7 is there. Okay, so 2 5s are there and 2 6s. Okay, so these are the number of order or order number, and has to indicate concurrency. Now here the sequence number here, number 1, it is lookup. Here there are 3 objects: user, catalog and reservation. It is the first interaction, then the second interaction, then the third interaction, then fourth one. And see here we can see 2 5 2 5. Okay, why uh, both of them numbered as 5? Because it indicates that these messages are passing from one object to another object at the same time, or they are in the same time sequence, and they are happening at the same time. Okay, so to show that both of them are happening within the same time, they will be numbered as the same number, that is 5. Similarly here 6, both of them are 6, the last two messages, they are numbered as 6, so they are also occurring at the same time. Okay, so to show the messages which are occurring at the same time, we will give them same numbers. Okay, next one, this messages, this sequence diagram you have already seen in the as the example, the first example. Okay, here caller, phone, and the recipient. I hope you can remember. Now here in this picture I have shown the activation point by the rectangles. Okay, now like the previous example, it is numbered as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, like that. Okay, I'm sorry, this should be 5 and this should be 6. Okay, now I hope I don't have to explain this once again, because it is actually picks up the phone, caller picks up them from the phone, the caller will listen the dial tone, after that he will dial, after that the ringing notification will go from phone to the caller, and the phone to the recipient, there will be a ring. Okay, and the recipient will pick up the phone, it is number 5, and then number 6, the recipient will say hello to the caller, and by this way it will be going on. Okay, so this is all about the sequence diagram. Now we are going to discuss the collaboration diagram. A collaboration diagram, also known as the communication diagram, as we have seen in the diagram chart. Okay, it is an illustration of the relationships and interactions among software objects in the Unified Modeling Language, or UML. These diagrams can be used to portray the dynamic behavior of a particular use case and define the role of each object. Collaboration diagrams are created by first identifying the structural elements required to carry out the functionality of an interaction. A model is then built using the relationships between those elements. Several vendors offer software for creating and editing collaboration diagrams. Now here you can see the example of collaboration diagram. It shows the relationship between objects and the order of messages passed between them. How they will show the order? By the numbers 1 2 3. Here you can see 1 2 3. Okay, user, reservation, and catalog, these are the objects. The objects are listed as rectangles, and arrows indicate the messages being passed. So here you can see the arrows. Okay, it will indicate from which object to which object the messages are passing. Okay, and the numbers indicate the order of sending those messages, as well as these rectangles 1 2 3. These three rectangles are representing the three objects. Okay, then the number next to the message are called sequence number. They show the sequence of the messages as they are passed between the objects. Convey the same information as sequence diagram, but focus on object roles instead of the time sequence. Okay, so here the object role will be focused more than the sequence diagram. Okay, where the time sequence is the main, we emphasize on the mainly on time sequence in sequence diagram. Okay, next just take the same example of the sequence diagram. What we have discussed here, it will be 5 and then it will be 6. Okay, as we have seen. So here caller, phone, and recipient, those three objects. See here the number sequence. So it is the main thing for the sequence diagram. Now if we convert this into the collaboration diagram, just check, in the previous sequence diagram there were caller, phone and recipient, so three objects were there. Now we will draw three objects by three rectangles. Okay, now after that we have to check the starting point. So caller will start the sequence, so it is the starting point. Okay, right. Now after this we'll just give the sequence numbers here. mm, After starting, first is picks up, then number 2 dial tone, then number 3 dial, then number 4 ring notification, it is going from phone to caller. Okay, number 3 caller to phone, that is dial. Number 4 ring, that is phone to recipient. After dialing, that is number 3, the ring will go to recipient and ring notification at number 4 will go to caller. See, both of them are numbered as 4. Okay, like the sequence diagram. And then after that it will be hello. Okay, before that recipient, from the phone there will be another one, that is recipient will picks up the phone. Okay, recipient will picks up the phone. um, Please excuse my writing. Right, like this previous, yeah, picks up that number 5. Okay, so here at number 5 it will be picks up, and that will be from receiver to phone. Okay, right. And after that at number 6 there will be hello, right, and that will be from recipient to caller. Okay, by this way the collaboration diagram is drawn, right. So here 4, and then it will be 5, as it will be 6. So this hello is 6, and at number 5 there will be picks up. Okay, picks up. I hope you can understand. At number 1, caller to phone picks up. Okay, just here in this collaboration diagram also just check, picks up is there at number 1. After that here number 2 dial tone from phone to caller, here also dial tone from phone to caller. Okay, then number 3 dial from caller to phone, number 3 dial from caller to phone in collaboration diagram also. Then at number 4 it is ring notification from phone to caller, just check, phone to caller it is ring notification, and phone to recipient it is ring, so phone to recipient it is ring at number 4. Again at number 5 phone to recipient picks up at number 5, as I have seen, I have shown here, that is recipient to phone, that is picks up. And at number 6 recipient to caller, that is hello, and here also recipient to caller, that is hello. Okay, so sequence diagram and collaboration diagram shows the same thing. Okay, one, that sequence diagram emphasizes on the time sequence, and here it shows the, it emphasizes on the object interaction. Okay, but the time sequence should be maintained on, they are same in both the diagrams. Okay, so now you can have questions like you once you have to convert the sequence diagram into collaboration diagram, or you may have to convert the collaboration diagram into sequence diagram, right. Now, when to use collaboration diagram? A collaboration diagram should be used when the relationships among objects are crucial to display. A few examples of instances where collaboration diagrams might be helpful include modeling collaboration, mechanisms of the structure organization within system design, providing an overview of collaborating objects within an object-oriented system, exhibiting many alternative scenarios for the same use case, demonstrating forward and reverse engineering, capturing the passages or passage of information between objects, visualizing the complex logic behind an operation. Now, collaboration diagram versus a sequence diagram. What is the differences? In UML, there are two types of interaction diagrams: are collaboration diagrams and sequence diagram, as we have seen. While both types use similar information, they display them in separate ways. Collaboration diagrams are used to visualize the structural organization of objects and their interactions, and sequence diagram, on the other hand, focus on the order of messages that flow between the objects. However, in most scenarios, a single figure is not sufficient in describing the behavior of a system, and both figures are required. Sorry. Now, coming to the last diagram of our discussion, that is the state diagram or state chart diagram. State diagram shows the sequence of states an object goes through during its life cycle in response to stimuli, together with its responses and actions, and abstraction of all possible behaviors. The name of the diagram itself clarifies the purpose of the diagram and other details. It describes different states of a component in the system. The states are specific to a component or object of a system. A state chart diagram describes a state machine. State machine can be defined as a machine which defines different states of an object, and these sorry, and these states are controlled by external or internal events. Activity diagrams explained in the in our next tutorial. Okay, before that, let us concentrate on this example, that is billing example. Okay, here in state chart diagram there should be 2 points, that is a start point and the end point. Start is symbolized by one circle only, okay, filled circle, and end is described by this two circles. Okay, next, these unpaid and paid, these are the states. Okay, so first, whenever invoice is created, then from start it is the state is unpaid. Okay, after paying, your invoice will be in a state of paid. Okay, and then invoice will be destroyed and you will get the money receipt. Okay, next, purpose of state chart diagrams. State chart diagram is one of the 5 UML diagrams used to model the dynamic nature of a system. They define different states of an object during its lifetime, and these states are changed by events. State chart diagrams are useful to model the reactive systems. Reactive systems can be defined as a system that responds to external or internal events. State chart diagram describes the flow of control from one state to another state. States are defined as a condition in which an object exists and it changes when some event is triggered. The most important purpose of state chart diagram is to model lifetime of an object from creation to termination. State chart diagrams are also used for forward and reverse engineering of a system. However, the main purpose is to model the reactive system. Now, these are the main purposes of using state chart diagrams: to model the dynamic aspects of a system, to model the lifetime of reactive system, to describe different states of an object during its lifetime, and to define a state machine to model the states of an object. Now, how to draw a state chart diagram? State chart diagram is used to describe the states of different objects in its life cycle. Emphasis is placed on the state changes upon some internal or external events. These states of objects are important to analyze and implement them accurately. State chart diagrams are very important for describing the states. States can be identified as the condition of the objects when a particular event occurs. Before drawing state chart diagram, we should clarify the following points: identifying the important objects to be analyzed, identifying the states, and identifying the events. So these three things you should remember first when you want to draw a state chart diagram. Now, this is an example of a state chart diagram of traffic light system. What we used to see while crossing the roads. So there are three types of usually there are three types of lights in the traffic signal, that is red, yellow, and green. Okay, here the red is not red actually, but in the real life it is red. Okay, the color is red. So here three states of the lights are red, yellow and green, right? Now at the beginning when you are waiting to start at the signal, so that is start state, okay, that is the red. Now from red, after the car trips sensor, okay, maybe this red will be green, or sometimes you can see there is a timer, so after 180 seconds or 120 seconds will be over, then the red will automatically be in a state of green, okay. So these are called the event. So when green will become red, green will not directly become red. When the green timer expires, if it is automated, fully automated system, and there is a timer, so green timer when it will be expired, okay, then it will become yellow. After that, whenever this yellow timer will expire, then the yellow will become red, okay. So and again, when red timer will expire, then it will become green, okay. So it will continue and there is no stop. Got it. So this is an example of state diagram. So there are three states: red, yellow and green in the traffic signal. So it emphasizes on the state of a of an object or of a system, okay. So these all regarding these three models or three diagrams, that is sequence diagram, another one is collaboration diagram, and the last one is the state chart diagram or state diagrams. These references are very useful. I have taken help from these references, and a few slides are also taken from these references. So you can, if you want to know more detail, you can go through these references. I think it will be helpful for you. uh, so that's all from my part till now. If you want to get more videos or more tutorial, you can subscribe the channel and click on the bell icon. So thank you. And if you have any queries, please comment in the comment section. Thank you so much.